It's pretty widely understood that most of the crypto digital asset space is predominantly guys. However, I wanted to do a special episode where we just spoke to some of the women in the XRP community and found out what they thought about the asset, the space, the case, and sort of what's to come in terms of the future of money. Hey, welcome to the show. Today I have a very different kind of episode than I usually do, and this is an interview set with a bunch of different women who are in the XRP community. And the backstory on this is that when I got into sort of crypto a couple years ago, it was mostly guys in the groups that I was in, which is fine. I was not surprised or expecting that. Generally, when you have kind of technology and finance, those are things generally more popular with men. So that was what I just assumed was the case when I got to the XRP world. I did, however, find pretty early on that there was quite a few women who had like YouTube channels, not a lot, relatively speaking. But the big surprise for me was when I went to the XRP Las Vegas event and found that there was a lot more women there, super into XRP, very knowledgeable, really passionate and excited about it. And I was like, wow, how did I not know this? And it was quite a pleasant surprise. And so I was like, well, what do I do about this? So I decided I would interview a bunch of them for my show, get to know a few of them. I do have two women included that you're going to know because they have YouTube channels and do put out a lot of content in the space. But the majority of the women that I did speak to kind of operate behind the scenes. They have incredible ideas and perspectives on things, but they are busy with other stuff and don't have things like a YouTube channel or a large Twitter presence for the most part. But I wanted to give them the opportunity to share some of their thoughts and viewpoints. And that's what this episode is about. So welcome.
It wouldn't shock me if like Larry Fink had a whale wallet of XRP, and also Jamie Dimon and whoever runs Bank of America, and insert all these other people who are in the know. I'm confident that they all realize this is a 50-cent token and it's going to be moving quadrillions of dollars very soon. And when this broken, busted, archaic, crooked fiat currency system falls, which it will, I mean, you can't have a product like a US dollar that has an intrinsic value of negative 2% every year last for much longer than 50 years, right? I mean, that's 50 times 2 is 100. It's completely devalued, it's done. So if that's the case, then obviously we have to have some kind of system to come in its place. When this one falls, another one's here ready to go. So assuming that that's true, and assuming that that is quantum, then we have to have the rails laid down. We have to have the infrastructure laid down. And I firmly believe that the XRP ledger is the rails that's going to run all these things. And we're going to have a new stock market and a new currency system and a new way to peer-to-peer pay. And we're going to completely eliminate the third-party clearinghouse and the third-party custodian people. Like the concept is so foreign, it's even hard to for me, I've been studying this daily for years, and it's still like, it's hard to explain to someone who's using PayPal or Venmo that you don't even need a bank to do that anymore. You're not going to need to connect it to the bank and then load the money into your account and then send the money from your account to the other person and then them take that money out of their account and put it in their bank. Like, there is no bank. Like, it's just going to be there. It's just going to be on your wallet. So it's hard to just wrap my own mind around that. So I think that this lawsuit is multiple purpose. I think it's delaying the inevitable. And I also think it's a blessing in disguise. It's allowing more and more people to accumulate and get other people involved and educated and knowledgeable so they can make their own decisions about it as well. So I think that it's keeping that window open just a little bit longer before it completely closes, so more people can get in. And maybe, like, I'm just confused about what the escrow account was set up for in the first place. Like, that seems kind of odd. Like, I wonder if the SEC and Brad and sat down and he said, okay, I'll create an escrow account. Here's your cut. And I'll sell it to you over time, real slow, real cheap. And we'll have this little fake little lawsuit. I don't know. All I know is a narrative doesn't make sense. And there could be multiple things going on at the same time, and they could all be true, but we just don't know the full picture. And I think, again, this lawsuit's weird. Like who can show up to court and say, I didn't bring the documents that you told me to bring, that you subpoenaed me to bring? Oops. Yeah.
What is your prediction? I mean, this might not age well because this case could end at any minute, right? What is your prediction on how things will play out for the Ripple case?
I think that Brad, obviously, like I listen to Brad Garlinghouse. He is like our Lord and Savior, and David Schwartz. But he's predicting, because right now that I'm speaking to you, it is what, June 5th. And I have read from what he's saying, he thinks it could be a few weeks to a few more months, but it's, done. And I do think it'll wrap up within a couple months. And I think what we're going to see is the price. It definitely impact the price, because I think what'll happen is it will start to be relisted on different exchanges, and hopefully these exchanges are still standing. But I think we're going to really, really see the price pump, and then the Ripple IPO happen after the price pumps, because I think you're going to have all of these really wealthy XRP holders that want to be able to, reinvest in the company that aren't able to because they're not accredited investors right now. So I think that could happen, but also institutional adoption, right? You have the XRPL that has been running for 10 years, no downtime, and banks are looking for that steadiness, that blockchain, that reliability, that security. And we're seeing, with them have just acquired Medico and everything like that. I mean, I think we're just, the days of a few cents XRP are going to be behind us.
I agree. I almost feel like if we were sitting here, I'm not a fan of ETH for many reasons, but if we were in the era where ETH was like $1 and people were debating, do you think it will go up? How silly that would feel, like in hindsight. I think there's going to be something similar for XRP. And what
is your guess on this, like dollar wise? I'll give you my dollar prediction, but I want to hear yours.
So I've actually spent months working on these valuation models. And to me, the issue is not that there's going to be a price unless there is an agreement to have a fixed price. But let's just take that off the table for now. I think we're going to steadily see a growing value as more people store their wealth in it. So here's my prediction of what's going to happen. Ripple wins, pump in XRP. People are really excited. People have been holding for a couple of years. It gets to $10, let's say. And they're like, I've been real patient. I need to take some profits. I want to go on vacation. I want to buy a car, whatever. And a bunch of people dump, the price goes down. Some freak out. The banks don't really like this, especially those that have the option agreement. But then we'll start to see the price go back up. And when the price starts to go back up, countries and big institutions that like participate in global trade, they are going to be making money. And they're like, we got to store our wealth somewhere. We've been storing it in dollars, but that seems like a sinking ship. Why don't we store it in this asset that's steadily going up in value? And this creates the virtuous cycle. Basically less available supply to transact, more of it's being used to store wealth. And then it just keeps going. So I don't think there's going to be like a price. It's going to be this steady increase until it sort of taps out for an era. And then things that like we can't imagine yet, like asteroid mining and AI running spaceships or whatever, all these new industries come in and we need more money, new places to store wealth. And then it like goes up again. So.
Okay. I can totally see that happening. And I think one of the biggest things that is going on right now, and this is the hacks on wallets and backdoor and, the centralized exchanges and centralized. And once the value of XRP starts to go up and everything like that, I think it's going to be really important for holders and people who are new to the space to come in. They want to feel safe and secure with their crypto. And you have millions and millions of dollars. So I look for Ripple to offer us a product to custody that and to maybe use our XRP, for ODL and everything. Because if I have millions and millions of dollars, I really don't want to be handling that myself. I would trust Ripple to handle that and ensure that for me, like the banks are supposed to ensure with the FDIC.
I mean, PolySign can do that. They're already doing it for large hedge funds, and Medico could do it. Hopefully I said that right. But I think the wallet thing is not an accident. It's trying to make storing your own key, custodying your own assets look scary and risky. just at the time where the banks are going to move in with custody offers. Don't use Ledger. They could accidentally blah, blah, blah. Why don't you custody with us? We are safer. I mean, it falls into this problem reaction solution thing that they use over and over. So I wouldn't be surprised if the whole agenda is for us to use the traditional financial people for custody.
Oh, sure. Definitely. I mean, the banks have to get their cut. They've got to get cut in somewhere, somehow, 100%. But I'm with you. I keep seeing $10 to $13 as my, some of my targets. I probably will take some gains around 5 as well, but I don't think that that's out of the question, because I really feel like as these other cryptocurrencies are being attacked, these top dogs, you're going to see a lot of money exit them and the floodgates open, I think, for XRP.
I want to take a quick break and talk to you about one of my sponsors. It is a product called Magic Mind, and it's a little sort of shot of sort of goodness for your focus, your ability to get into the zone and be productive. And it's sort of intended to be a supplement to coffee, but it works very differently. And there's some very cool ingredients in there that, before I explain kind of how I got into this and what it's been like for me. It is green tea based, hence the green color. And I will admit, when I first tried my first one, I was nervous it was going to taste like wheatgrass, which I did a wheatgrass thing many years ago. And I'm not a fan of the taste of wheatgrass, so I ended up not sort of sticking with that very long. It is nothing like that. It actually has quite a bit of a citrusy tang to it. It does taste like a botanical, sort of like if you've ever had a veggie like juice that, has a variety of different sort of components to it, like a little bit tangy, a little bit sweet. Kind of reminds me of that. And there are some recipes, basically, which means that you can mix it with other things, like a smoothie would probably be sort of the thing that I would do. But I've just been taking it straight, and I like it. All right, some of the ingredients that are in here. It has obviously a green component, which is matcha, green tea from the sort of East Asian. I mean, when I lived in Japan a long, long time ago, I kind of got into the green tea matcha thing. It's very good for you. Doesn't have that. See, what thing I like about this the most is it helps me focus. I do a lot of writing, a lot of sort of researching of things, and I love to get into the zone and be productive. But I don't like caffeine jitteriness. So I really don't drink very much coffee at all. I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning because I get too wired, which is actually the opposite result that I want. It tends me to make it very difficult for me to focus when I'm on a lot of caffeine. So this is nothing like a caffeine, Red Bull, coffee, Vibrant, or whatever those kind of monster things. Like, it's nothing like that in my experience. So for the past few weeks, I've been on this for about, I think, 2.5 weeks now. Take one every day, pretty much remember most days, a couple weekends I haven't. And what it's really helped me do as we've worked on these valuation papers and I've been doing research for some other projects is I've just been focusing better than normal, which is great. Some of the other ingredients in addition to the green tea is lion's mane, which is a mushroom that really, I've read about in many, many places having great effects for you. Turmeric, which is known to be a great anti-inflammatory, but also kind of helps with blood flow, which I guess keeps things going so you don't have any inflammation. I'm not a doctor, so please don't take any of these types of suggestions about the ingredients as being any kind of medical advice. And there's also some ashwagandha, which I don't know if I said that right, and some other kind of roses, vitamin B complex, some Bicope Monieri. Some of these ingredients are not too easy for me to pronounce. But anyway, regardless, I have found this to be an awesome way to kind of kick myself into productivity zone when I need to do that, which in my work as a consultant and a researcher and a kind of content creator is pretty much every day. So I'm a big fan. Mind Magic, if you want to try some for yourself, there's a link in the description for you to give it a shot. How would you describe the XRP Army to someone who has no idea what any of this is about?
So the first word that comes to mind is passionate.
Okay.
So our community, they're very passionate people. They believe in the movement. They believe in what Ripple is trying to do. So they're, when people talk about XRP in spaces or even one-on-one, like you can feel the passion that they have for this project, for this company, and for this crypto. So passion is the first word that comes to mind. Passionate.
Okay. What else?
Engaging.
What do you think, like, as a community, what do we want to have happen? Like, what's our goal or our agenda?
Well, as a community, obviously, I mean, we're all waiting for this famous lawsuit to come to an end. It's been around for quite some time, as you know. So I think we've been given just little pieces of the pie, a little bit here, a little bit there. Throughout this whole lawsuit, we've had good news, we've had drawbacks, we've had more good news, and then more drawbacks, and then extensions and delays. And so, we just want to pull this Band-Aid one shot and just, get some clarity and get some closure and just be happy with the outcome that we want, obviously.
One of the things that many of us in the XRP world discuss is, what does this new financial system look like? Because that's sort of part of it, is trying to figure out what XRP and the XRP Ledger and Ripple, like, how does it all fit together? Because there isn't really a open disclosure from the people who are participating for a variety of reasons. So what do you think the next sort of world of money is going to look like for all of us?
So, I mean, I'm not a very technical person when it comes to XRPL and, the back end and what the big picture would look like. But I do believe that they are trying to push a new technology, right? Like right now they're focused on like money transfers, right? Swift, which is archaic, which costs a lot of money to send, which takes forever for you to get your money. And this, I remember going to the bank with my mother as a child and sending money to my grandmother in Greece, and it would cost my grandmother so much money just to accept this money, right? It was ridiculous, right? So I think that they're really just trying to push the technology and push moving forward and efficiency and cheaper for everybody, and just, uniform.
And then compared to other communities that you've been in, maybe some of the Facebook groups you've been in or whatnot, do you feel like the XRP Army is a good place to have debates and discussions, or is it so passionate that it often just turns into fights?
You know what? I'll be very honest. I've experienced both.
Okay.
I've experienced both. So, but for the most part, you can go in and have a debate. I mean, you have people who, again, it depends on your character too. You can be, a big supporter of XRP, loving the company, what we're doing, but then having a beef with the person that you're talking with because you may have a difference of opinion on something, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, just yesterday I experienced that in a space that I was in. So, being so passionate can sometimes, you can butt heads with someone, and, there could be problems, but overall, like I've been into Cardano spaces, I've been into shitcoins like Pepe spaces, and I just laugh, like, especially with shittier coins. I don't know if I can use that word, but for the most part, like I said, I feel like 90% of the time we can have honest, clean debates, respectful debates. And like we've even had debates with people who are, I'm not going to say anti XRP, but just not a fan, right? Not haters, but not a fan. And I've seen two people, from the XRP side and the non XRP side have a really good conversation and just listen to each other's point of views and talk about factual things. So overall, it's a pretty clean environment when it comes to listening in spaces and debating with somebody else.
The fall of the fiat corruption.
Well, the fact that the corruption was because of, and it was enabled by, a system that was never designed to be fair, right? And fairness matters, right? It's right up there with honesty and integrity. Fairness matters. And most kids, it's innate. You got to be fair. So if we can keep them remembering this story, however that story is going to be told, hopefully we don't come back here again as a society.
Very well said. Very well said, Kathy.
Well, thank you.
I think good times are ahead. We're going to move back to this world where we have a level playing field and the nations of the world all can live freely with their own money and not be corrupted by the City of London banking cartel.
I think you're always going to have, and that's what's so cool about this technology, you're always going to have somebody that tries to cheat the system or whatever, but now they get caught, right?
Yeah, a different level of risk associated with being a scammer on the open blockchain.
You're right, exactly. So I think it's great. I think for me personally, I'm excited that I finally buckled down and researched it. And I've obviously I've been able to excite other people because quite a few people, I've got a really small research group. It's only 450 people, but probably at least half of them are now in crypto because of things I've said. And I'm not a financial advisor, but
Yes, of course.
it's like, come on, people, look at this. And most of us are older. Quite a few people in my group are above 70, and they're excited. So I think this is a good thing for everybody.
I agree. And that's amazing that you're helping support that demographic where they're probably had less exposure than some of the younger, especially younger techie guys who kind of got into it early on.
Yeah, that's why I was glad to do that because we've all got our own stories. Everybody's got a story. And most of the people are coming to this whole new world with God, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be. And the noise and everything like that, we just kind of talk through it and say, but wait a minute, it's changing. What we're watching is changing. And I explain it like a pendulum on a grandfather clock. When it goes from left to right, as it switches to go the other direction, it wobbles a little bit. Well, that's where we're at right now. Bear with it.
I agree with you that the XRP Army, one thing I've noticed is that there's a sharpness with investigative analytical skills that they are less likely to just question what they're told. Less likely to just sort of believe what they're told, and they will question and dig. And if you think about this sort of ETHgate situation, how much of this would have even been known if we hadn't had sort of our citizen journalist team digging into these things and relentlessly reminding all of us and those who aren't aware of the nefarious activities of our government.
Yeah, I mean, it's been something that we've all had to go through together. This lawsuit really combined the whole community, and it made us closer because Jeremy Hogan and John Deaton and other lawyers were there giving us commentary and updates, and then Brad Garlinghouse was telling us, and David Schwartz telling us what's going on with David in terms of technology, Brad in terms of what's going on internationally with Ripple and what's going on with the lawsuit. I mean, we were getting all these different pieces, and we had to suffer because our XRP was suppressed in price for all this time and had a cloud on title, as Jimmy Valley says, right? So we didn't really have the freedom that other cryptocurrencies had, but we bound together as a community, and going forward, we may be the crypto that has the clarity, which is going to give us a big lead over everyone else. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all works out, and it may come to our advantage. At the very minimum, it's been to our advantage to have 2 extra years to accumulate XRP at low prices or accumulate Ripple stock at low prices. So from my perspective, it hasn't been all bad because we're so early in this revolution. And that's hard for people because they've been invested for a long time. So they're like, really, we have to wait longer? But really, I think we need to take a look at this entire decade. Not that you're going to have to wait till the end of the decade to get your value, but I think people are going to be surprised at the end of the decade at what the real value is.
But even using your analogy that this is like a similar repeat of the launch of the internet, I mean, when sort of AOL first launched, it would have been hard to imagine some of the advanced video tools that we have now, or things like Uber, where you could order food from your phone. Like it would have been difficult to see all of that way back then. I feel like we're in the same era with blockchain, is that we're so early. The truly life-changing use cases, like, I don't even know if they've all been thought up yet, because it's just not at that stage of the evolution yet.
Yeah, I don't think they have. And it's exciting because when we get clarity, I think the XRP ledger is going to be the blockchain that a lot of people will prefer to build on, right? And then we're going to have all kinds of use cases that are going to be possible because of the scalability and the low cost that are going to make this really, really exciting. But when I think about, investing in the future, I just think, again, stocks are going to be tokenized, real estate's going to be tokenized. You're going to be able to buy a small slice of an apartment building very easily in the future. You can't do that today.
So after you found XRP, you found the XRP Army and the XRP Community. How would you describe what it's been like for you to be a member of this group?
Well, I mean, it can be, listen, the XRP Army is a family, and the beauty of a family is there's the good, bad, and the ugly, right? And any family, there's that. So when you have a family, you've got that one that's just a bulldog and they just want to fight all the time. And then you have the one that just wants to teach people all the time. You have the one that's just happy all the time, and it's hopium, and it's just, rainbows and stars. And then you have the person that just is the wallflower. They just want to sit there and they want to learn, and they just want to understand this thing that they have now purchased. So you just have a lot of that. And in that, you just have to kind of accept people for who they are and what they are and what they bring to the table, whether that's quiet support or it's, they're going to give you value when it comes to that particular asset and explaining things, giving you news or new things that have been implemented on the XRP ledger and with XRP. Whether we have forks, whether we have new dApps that are being, implemented on the XRPL, all of that is in our XRP Army. And I will say they are the most intelligent group of people I've ever encountered. Seriously.
I would agree with that completely. So obviously, if anyone who's in the XRP space is aware of the Ripple SEC lawsuit, we'll see how well this video ages, because it could end at any moment. We don't know. What are your sort of predictions based on sort of the information nuggets you've picked up along the way? What's going to happen?
Well, here's what I'll say, and I've said it before. I think Brad Garlinghouse is probably the most chill man I've ever seen to be on trial with the SEC. Take that for what it's worth. Take that for what it's worth. All I'm saying is he doesn't look like a man that's on trial to me. What he looks like is somebody that's kind of hanging and chilling and just waiting for the thing to just be announced. But that's just speculation. Just speculation.
I think he's had professional composure training, because he's just so relaxed and calm and charismatic that sometimes that people have that naturally, but he is so good at that.
He really is. And here's the thing. I think that it's very interesting to note that some of the most foremost players in every field has been brought to court by the SEC. You got to think about it in that respect. And you also have to think about it in the sense of, if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be going after it this way. They wouldn't, and what is also interesting is both sides are playing hardball. I mean, they both are, okay? Ripple is like, you got the right one today and I've got time. And the SEC is like, okay, well, we're going to take over this regardless of whether you want us to or not. And Ripple's like, come and try it. Yeah, come on.
Bring it.
All right. Bring it. All right, I got money and I got time, and you can play yourself if you want to, but go on ahead and come on. And I think there's a lot to it, right? We've got conflict of interest. We have insider trading, and these are conflicts of interest that are criminal conflicts of interest, because there's actually an email chain that comes from the SEC ethics department that said to Bill Hemmon, listen, you need to not meet with these people from your firm.
It's true.
And he has emails that states that he did. So I'm just saying. And the 13th is coming quite quickly. And that's when those Bill Hinman emails are going to be released. And I'm telling you, if they release them and there's people in there that have some criminal conflicts of interest, you better believe that there's going to be some indictments that are going to come along. So it might behoove them to go ahead and settle this case as quickly as possible. That is, unless they are ready for that type of exposure.
And that's all we have for part 1. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes in part 2 as we talk to more women in the XRP community. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video to help me out with YouTube, and we'll see you in the next one.